Have you heard of the Project2025.org National Sunday Law proposed for America? Project 2025 is an initiative to take the U.S. government by storm in 2025. If this country gets a conservative president, they hope to launch their agenda on day one in the White House in 2025. This has prophetic implications. In the first 6 months, they want to enact their 180-day Playbook. Trained representatives will cover each key office to facilitate this. On page 589 of the Playbook, they argue that Americans need a united Sabbath rest as a God-ordained day off. They argue a shared day off is needed by all society. Their action point is that Congress should encourage communal rest by amending the Fair Labor Standards Act, FLSA, to require that workers be paid time and a half for hours worked on the Sabbath. That day would default to Sunday. This law is very religious in nature. Though it gives some exception to Saturday Sabbath keepers, the reality is problematic for a shared day off. Every time governments have backed religious laws, especially affecting the first 4 of God's 10 commandments, who, how, and when to worship, persecution has arisen. Prophecy students, students of history, and lovers of freedom should take issue with this law. Some people promise freedom when the reality is quite the opposite. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon once defended the Hebrew God. The result was deadly and misrepresented God. You can read about it in Daniel 3, 28 and 29. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. In Daniel chapter 3, paganism was the main religion of Babylon. King Nebuchadnezzar had set up a golden image and commanded everyone to bow down to this great image, which was to represent Babylon. All the pagans felt very comfortable with this, while the people of God were challenged because God's commandment said, Do not make any graven image, nor bow down to it. Most everyone had no problem bowing down, but these few Hebrew boys did. As a result, they were thrown into a fiery furnace, but God protected them, thankfully. After this experience with paganism, the king decided to defend the Hebrew God politically. In that case, any pagan who wanted to speak against their God was going to be in big trouble with the king. What we see is that no matter whose religion we are defending by the power of the state, someone in the country is going to be affected very negatively, and this is not good for freedom in our country. We may not like pagans using the government against Christians, but we certainly shouldn't make the government go against everyone else and defend the Christian God. That would misrepresent the gospel of Jesus Christ. That would misrepresent the truth of God. If God wanted to enforce his laws by the power of the state, he certainly could have a long time ago. But he has given everyone a free choice, a free will, to be able to exercise their freedom of conscience in these matters. And God sends his rain on the just and the unjust, those who praise him and those who curse him. God is merciful and kind. But I would never trust an earthly state power to enforce someone's religion upon the nation. That is not safe or helpful. Jesus said, Render to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, but to God what belongs to God. Our taxes go to Caesar, but our tithe and our hearts go to God. Let's serve God and be faithful and not have any government telling us who, how, and even when to worship. In February of 2024, Trump gave a speech at the National Religious Broadcasters Association meeting. It lasted about 75 minutes. You can check it out on YouTube. In this speech, Trump promised that Christians will have power like never before in this government. He also said he wants to get people back into churches. He's very inclined to support a national Sunday law according to this agenda. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe for more, like this video if you like it, and share with somebody who it can help. If you want to keep learning, here's another video I think you'll like. God bless you, and remember, Jesus is coming soon.